Premier League, Group Stage, Round of 32.
Protoss for the 7th time today. And Green Protoss, 7th time today. From Infinity Gaming, it is
FatTire, Lucien,
and his opponent in the bottom left of Overgrowth, in purple, from Team Anna Kendrick, it's our Zerg player,
FatTire,
all right. Now here's my first real thought about this. Just from all the games we've seen from both these players today, I feel like FatTire is going to take this series. I'm rooting for Lucien because, number one, I've cast him on my channel a lot. I like the guy, and I know a lot about him. But just from the play itself, if I just literally broke it down to play and not knowing the players, I would have to say FatTire has been a lot more solid today. What do you think?
I totally agree with what you've said, but I can't rule out the fact that Lucien's only positive win rate is against Zerg.
And maybe he's going to do a different build because we've only seen him play 2 Terrans. Maybe he's going to have a different build, opening up. Like, actually, he already has. He's got a Forge.
Whatever build he goes for, it's going to be pretty disrupted because that is a hatchery on his 3rd.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. Ninja Hatch.
Yeah.
And he's trying to deny this natural. He went with the Forge Fast Expand build because he doesn't have to worry about a Reaper. I'm surprised he's running away. You know what? I think this is a total bluff here from FatTire. Yeah, he had no intention of taking that base because he took the other one. Oh, my.
Yeah.
Well, this is unorthodox, but interesting.
If we'd seen the scout keep itself alive and go into the main at some point, then it's more than realistic that it could have been worked out by Lucien. But instead of that, we've kind of got this really funky defensive stance that he's taking. With this cannon, I mean, one cannon at the front is fine. It's fine. I don't like the pylons being placed where they are necessarily. Yeah. It's okay. It's not too bad, and I just think that this isn't going to work itself out. It's either going to be speedlings or roaches. I think it just has to be. And I wish that FatTire had taken the gold. If FatTire had taken the gold, it would have been pretty close to where they currently are, but it would have been a gold base, so it would have been way better.
Yeah, I'm really surprised he chose this base spot. I mean, the odds of Lucien accidentally seeing this are good. And if he had taken that gold, he may never have spotted it.
Yeah.
Now, if another probe goes down for another scout or anything like that, down to FatTire's base, he's going to see there's still no natural. And ultimately, you're not going to expect a proxy hatch over at your 3rd. You're going to think one base all in. So I'm not sure where this is going.
No, nor am I. I mean, it's Proxy Roach coming out of our Zerg player. It kind of has to be. Other than that, Lucien hasn't really walled off very effectively either. It's an 11 hex gap across the front here. And doing this means that Lings could stream past this, let alone the roaches that are very, very shortly going to be popping out of the proxied hatchery. It's... Neither player is doing a particularly optimized build, in my opinion, but I really think that it's going to work. I just don't see... I don't see FatTire being stopped by what we see before us. There's Chrono going into the warp gate, and
which
the most
I'm happy to see in this case, just because he's in so much trouble.
No, he should be spending on a Nexus. He should be getting a mothership core, which he's so late on.
He doesn't have one, does he? Oh,
I mean,
no.
Is this now?
That's it.
What's gonna hold this?
That's it. There's
a Stalker and probes.
I was gonna say if he kites with the Stalker, maybe it lives, but he's not. There was no micro there, and yeah, he's gonna have to abandon that natural. Pray to God he can get some more units out. I just don't know if it's possible to recover already.
I doubt it so much. The Mothership Core is incredible for early game defense. It's the reason why the races that aren't Protoss are often very upset about Protoss having a Mothership Core, because they don't have one and they're so jelly. But if you don't build it, where's your edge? Where's your advantage? And the answer is it's currently being acid vomited away into nothing. These gates aren't going to open up. Warp Gate isn't finished. More and more roaches streaming in. 5 in production. And that Mothership Core finally being built. Yeah, the roaches can't kill it, but does it really matter at this point? There's no overcharge. There's 28 workers in the base, and that's really not where you want to be sat fighting roaches with probes. They don't do well. 16 lings now in production to finish it off.
Warp Gate is in production here. I mean, almost. It's done.
Hooray!
So yeah, he's got 1 Warp Gate. Do you remember there was a game earlier? I think that was the one where it was a Marine all-in on Habitation Station where he got Warp Gates just as he died. It was like the first game of the day.
Yeah.
This seems similar. Although, actually, with the roaches attacking... Okay, they were attacking the Nexus. This is getting cleaned up in the main. Well, I thought it was. Maybe not. He's got the Mothership Core in the same command.
What
Yeah.
can you
do the Warp
here?
Gates are coming... Well, I don't know if there's really
It's
a
kind of
chance
gas.
here.
You can only make Zealots anyway, and Zealots don't do so great against roaches, because roaches just kite all day. There's now quite a lot of roaches. And the thing is, this would have been even more potent if he'd taken the gold. There would have been way more roaches. He would have even taken a second gas in the main and been absolutely fine, and basically ended up on double production.
Lucien.
And his opponent, in the top left, the long spawns of Waystation. In purple, from Team Anna Kendrick, it's our Zerg player.
FatTire.
Well, first off here, I don't think we're going to see a Forge Fast expand again. I thought for sure we were because his original rally was outside right there in that forge spot. And then he decided to drop the pylon on the high ground. So I'm expecting a gateway to come down immediately here. And that's what it's going to be.
I like Gateway Expand. That's my favourite. I think that he's made a good decision now, because this is what I would do. No bias at all here. And also I love that he's scouting. Scouting on 13 will give him that little advantage, as long as he keeps moving the probe around and keeping an eye on what's going on. Where's this drone headed?
Now, did you notice that when he dropped that pylon, he's 1 hex back from where he should be, and there's a hole in front of the gateway?
No, that's deliberate. He's actively put that there because then he'll complete
so
the
put a
wall
zealot?
off with the cybercore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He'll complete the wall off with the cybercore, then there'll be a 1 hex gap for the zealot. The only complaint I have about that is I would have put the gateway on the other side, which would have meant that the Zerglings had a split second, or maybe like a second or two longer to run towards my Nexus.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Okay, I take it back.
Yeah, but that's... there you go. Never mind. He did get that Nexus down. Where'd the pro go? He headed back. Okay. And he saw the natural, and apparently that was all he was interested in. So, that's that. Coming back home.
Ideally, you want to keep that probe out on the map and not take it home, because if you keep it out on the map and hidden, you can whack down proxy pylons without having to run it past the Zerglings that should be sat in front of your natural by the time you actually want to be sending the probe out. It's not impossible, and good Zergs try and hunt down your probes as well. So there's very much a dynamic element to it, but yeah.
Well, and you know what? He went with the Gateway Cybercore into Nexus. How do you feel about that?
I like that. That's good.
Okay.
I'm just
A little more
disappointed.
safe?
Yeah, until he chronoed that warp gate, which is bad. He should be. Really, it's not good at all. The only reason you do that would be a bit later, and if you're planning on hitting a really strong gateway timing, getting the Mothership Core now is the most critical part, because a 1414 on a conventional map size hits in 4, 3, 2, 1 now. Your Mothership Core's finished in 3 seconds if you start it at the right time. So your Mothership Core would now be there defending the 6 lings that have turned up from the 1414 before the speed, or 14 pool indeed. And now there's nothing. There's no units.
Well, you know what? I gotta be honest. You know why I'm not upset about this Warp Gate chrono? Because he used his chrono.
Okay, fair point. And actually, if he decides to send this probe out on the map and put down some proxy pylons, he could hit a really strong warp gate timing. It's just, I mean, it's not maybe optimized, but he could do it nicely if he hits it well. And I kind of really want him to. I'd really like to see him hit a strong warp gate timing with this probe that's headed out now.
You know what I'm interested in is, first of all, FatTire has that Overlord in the base. He sees one gas isn't taken. But more importantly, he probably watched the earlier matches with Lucien, because if you noticed, he went 2 very preemptive Spore Crawlers. And in this situation, there is no Stargate. So that's going to work out just fine. For Lucien, there goes 2 extra burn drones that aren't going to hurt him any. He looks like he's going a standard 4-gate.
Yeah, it's true. That pylon placement, if you put that on the high ground, it will be equally likely to get scouted, but will be on the high ground rather than the low ground.
There's nothing to defend. There's actually a sentry over here. We could do something.
Yeah. Actually warping in Zealots at a really, really early timing, which is really nice. This is quite off-putting. There are a bunch of spine crawlers coming down, but actually there's a load of Zealots just going to walk up. There's no real defense here for FatTire, and drones are being pulled. This is good. Fighting drones would be great at this point.
I would just engage these drones.
Yeah, definitely. Keep warping in.
He's just trying to buy time for these... Oh, he's doing a phenomenal job walling them off.
Yeah, really kind of... Yeah, unusual control from Lucien. And with the Lings coming out, I think that these Zealots are kind of going to get chased off. With 2 spine crawlers, you can push this, but it's not exactly great to do so. You need to get to about 7 or 8 before you can push into 2 spines.
Well, now he's got 5. Unfortunately, the weakest one up front.
It is unfortunate. With Lings as well, this is very difficult. Very, very difficult. And Lucian's going to have to back off, but you can't rule out the fact that this has forced a lot of Zerglings. A lot of Zerglings. And those are all not drones. Lucien,
he has no more. He only has 2 larvae available now.
Yeah, if Lucien had been droning behind this, then he would be in a really, really powerful macro position. He could be getting ready to take a 3rd base even at this point. But actually what's happened is he's forced a load of Lings and doesn't have defenses up to handle it.
I'd like to see... I know that it would be a burn of energy here, but I'd like to see him recall that mothership core.
Has he got enough for 2?
Yeah. Well, no, not enough for 2, but he's got enough for 1. Okay, the Zealots are starting to get better numbers.
This is why I don't pick Waystation. This is why I thought Waystation was a poor choice, because that naturally so difficult to wall, and especially when you just don't build like a forge or anything in it when you've got the money and you don't. He's cleaned it up and he's got a lot of Zealots, but he needs to fix that wall before something terrible happens to him. And
yeah, that wall's a mess. He needs a structure at the top of that wall to take care of that problem. And then either a force field, maybe at least 1 cannon behind these gateways right next to that pylon would be nice.
I want to see a forge go down in this wall, and that for those exact reasons. Cannon and upgrade, super important. If that push had been a minute later, but with +1, those Lings would have made very little difference, and he could have really busted through. I use a timing almost exactly like this, and I nicked it off a GM that I play with, and he really rates it because you get enough Zealots, and actually it's really difficult to deal with.
How do you feel about 14 Zealots in a mothership core going into 4 spines?
The Zealots win, especially if they've got +1. And the response at the moment is to
24
Lings. Yeah, Lings aren't going to do a lot.
That third. Oh, well, yep, it's gone.
No, I don't agree. I think that taking this out is good, but not as good as being able to just run up the front. With the positioning of those spines at the front, actually, it would have been quite difficult for the Zealots to engage. Good surface area is very important. But
I'd love to see Zealot charge. God, that would be so nice right now. And +1, and there's no forge still, right?
But just look. There's no forge. There's no nothing. His macro has been full of holes, just like the wall at the front, and he's not produced any real workers. Probes and pylons is the golden rule of any race, but in this instance Protoss, and his pylons have been okay, but his probes have been so lacking.
Oh, and these Lings are going for a run by. For 1 Zealot!
Hole in the wall. cannon
the
and
wall.
a forge and a cannon and a
There's so many
and a
ways to
zealot
fix
in the
this
gap.
problem.
It's so easy to fix to fix this problem. SimCity is so critical, and it's just not being done.
Where are these zealots not helping the ones downstairs? Because there's a massacre in the main. Got it. Photon overcharge. He has 200 energy. There you go. There you go. That's gonna be it. FatTire will advance to the round of 16. Got anything to say?
I think it's best if I don't.